On Global Television News Express, President Tinubu reduces 261 MDAs to 161 as FEC adopts Resilience report. Federal government to pay youth unemployment benefits and sets up consumer credit program. Customs suspend rice sale after 7 die in stampede. On the foreign scene, Macron says Russian defeat in Ukraine vital for security in Europe. In sports, Falcons edge out Cameroon and face South Africa in final round. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Express. On Global Television, we are live in the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Anthony Momodu. The Federal Executive Council has approved the adoption of the Resilience report aimed at a reduction of cost of governance for implementation. Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, disclosed this while briefing State House correspondents at the end of the FEC meeting, presided over by President Bola Tinubu at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. The minister explained that with the adoption of the report, it means that some agencies, commissions and departments of government have been scrapped, some merged, some subsumed under some others, and others moved on the new ministries where they are supposed to perform better. Vice President Kashim Shettima has launched the Light Up Nigeria Southeast initiative in Enugu, describing it as the much expected solution to the power supply deficit that has undermined the nation's economy and industrialization. He says the project, which is part of the priorities set by President Bola Tinubu to revamp the economy and ensure rapid industrialization, heralds the renewed hope for industrialist investors and Nigerians who had to bear the brunt of the country's power challenge for so long. Shettima, during the project launch in Enugu, also commissioned the 181 megawatt geometric power plant in Abia State, to accelerate power supply to industrial clusters in the region. The Senate has confirmed the appointment of Hafsat Abubakar Bakari as the Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, which was forwarded to by President Bola Tinubu. The confirmation was a sequel to the consideration of a report on the screening of the nominee presented by the Chairman Senate Committee on Anti-Corruption and Financial Crimes, Senator Udende Emmanuel, APC Benue Northeast. Recall that President Bola Tinubu wrote to the Senate last week seeking the screening and subsequent confirmation of Hafsat Abubakar Bakari as the Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit. The federal government have said it would extend its social security payment net to graduates with qualifications from NCE and above. Addressing journalists after the Federal Executive Council meeting, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, disclosed that the program would see unemployed Nigerian youths being paid stipends. Similarly, Edun stated that the federal government will urgently establish a consumer credit scheme to alleviate the pains of economic adjustment. He noted that the Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila, will lead a committee that includes the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, the Attorney General of the Federation, and himself, the Coordinating Minister of the Economy. The Kaduna State government has confirmed 5 deaths following Lassa fever outbreak in the state. The confirmation is in a report on the outbreak of the disease by the State Commissioner for Health, Umar Ahmed, in Kaduna. She stated that an initial 6 samples were collected to confirm the outbreak, followed by another 6 samples from contacts, which were sent to Bayero University, Kano, for analysis, with a 24 to 28-hour turnaround time for the result. According to the report, 99 contacts have so far been line listed and are being followed up, as 19 others also developed some form of symptoms and their samples were collected. The commissioner said that the state government had so far taken some measures to combat the outbreak of the disease. The Nigerian Labour Congress and other related unions have commenced their protest in Abuja over the high cost of living, inflation, insecurity and hardship in the country. Unions taking part in the protests include the Medical and Health Workers Union of Nigeria, the FCT Council, the National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives, and the Nigerian Union of Teachers and Construction Workers Union, among others. The protest started from the Labour House headquarters in Abuja at exactly 9:36 a.m. Global Television will keep following the developments for you. Thousands of Nigerians have stormed the National Assembly complex in support of the reforms so far out in place by President Bola Tinubu to reposition the country. The protesters who converged at the Abuja Unity Fountain staged a peaceful walk to the National Assembly complex, calling on the Organized Congress, NLC, to call off their nationwide strike action. The protesters who brandished their various placards in support of President Bola Tinubu-led administration called on the organized labor to call off the strike action in the interest of the nation. They urged the NLC to engage in constructive dialogue with the government instead of grounding economic activities, exacerbating the issues and further making life hard for the common man. Business activities were paralyzed for some hours on Tuesday as the Nigerian Labour Congress and its affiliates staged a peaceful protest in Osogbo, Osun State against the current economic hardship ravaging the country. The protesters, led by the Osun NLC chairman Christopher Araposopo, began their march from the Freedom Park, Osogbo, and moved through the MDS Road chanting anti-presidential Bola Tinubu songs. Some of the affiliates of the NLC and that participated in the protests include the Academic Staff Union of Universities, the Radio, Television, Theatre and Art Workers Union of Nigeria, and the Nigerian Union of Journalists, amongst others. As the protesters moved towards the Olaye Junction, where they eventually converged, vehicular movement was grounded along the Osogbo-Gbongan Road. Erasmus Ekpan, the Cross River Commissioner for Information, says the proposed construction of Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway will boost tourism and agriculture in the state. The commissioner, who spoke in an interview in Calabar, says the coastal superhighway was long overdue. President Tinubu had on Monday at the Federal Executive Council meeting approved the construction of the coastal road. According to Ekpan, the road, when completed, will improve on the economy of Cross River and other states within the corridor of the coastal road. The Kano Zonal Command of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has apprehended 3 suspects for engaging in currency racketeering in Kano State. The suspects were taken in custody following an intelligence-driven investigation that exposed a syndicate operating in proximity to the Central Bank of Nigeria branch along the Lagos Street in Kano metropolis. The EFCC, in an official statement posted on its verified X handle, disclosed that the apprehended individuals were allegedly involved in illicit sale of new Naira notes for commercial purposes. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency has intercepted the largest heroin consignment at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Ikeja, Lagos State. The chairman of the NDLEA, Buba Marwa, disclosed this while briefing journalists in Lagos. The agency also arrested members of an organized criminal organization that specializes in trafficking heroin across Nigeria, South Africa, Mozambique, Europe, and America in an operation leading to the seizure of the consignment, which weighed 51.90 kilograms on February 12, 2024. The NDLEA boss said the consignment was concealed in 15 cartons of 2,300 watts metal cutting machines. He noted that there was a parallel between the seizure and the September 18, 2022 seizure of 2,139.5 kilogram cocaine in a warehouse in the Ikorodu area of the state, which he described as the biggest singular cocaine seizure in the history of the NDLEA. According to him, 4 cartel members linked to the recent seizure were arrested in a follow-up operation conducted by the NDLEA operatives. The Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps (NSCDC) says it has deployed a special intelligence team to monitor and stop illegal movement and hoarding of food commodities in Katsina State. The NSCDC Commandant Jamilu Idabawa disclosed this in Katsina. Idabawa disclosed this while receiving Jabiru Suri, chairman of the committee set up by the state government to monitor the prices and movement of grains in the state. Earlier, Suri, who is also the chief of staff to the governor, commended the NSCDC on their efforts across the state. He revealed that the task force was established to monitor the prices of foodstuff, address hoarding of grains and the movement of food commodities, and any act that would lead to price hike. The Nigerian Customs Service have announced the suspension of the sale of the foodstuff following a stampede that reportedly killed 7 persons at the NCS Old Zonal Headquarters in the Yaba area of Lagos State. The Chief Superintendent of Customs and National Public Relations Officer for the Comptroller General of Customs, Abdullahi Mewada, in a statement disclosed that the suspension of the exercise. The Nigerian Customs had said it was seized the food items at 10,000 naira per 25 kilograms to alleviate the people suffering as a result of the current high cost of living and other economic hardship. On Friday, a pregnant woman and 6 others reportedly died in a stampede after some suspected hoodlums attempted to force their way into the Yaba Custom Office compound. The Nigerian Police Force have deployed anti-riot operatives in strategic locations ahead of its nationwide protest declared by the Nigerian Labour Congress over the economic crunch in the country. The force spokesman, Olumuyiwa Adejobi, explained that the police have been placed on red alert. The presidency and the police authorities had warned the NLC against carrying out the protest, which was turned down by the Trade Union Congress and 65 civil society groups. But the NLC President Joe Ajaero insisted that the demonstration would go on as planned, hinging his decision on the economic situation and hardship in the country. You're watching News Express coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We are on StarTime channel 276. Kindly follow us on all social media platforms using ART, Global TV NG, and other handles now showing on your screen. When News Express returns, the Central Bank of Nigeria raises interest rate to 22.75%. These and all the stories coming right after this break. Do stay with us. Welcome back from the break. This is Global Television bringing you live broadcast of News Express. Thank you for staying with us. On the foreign scene, 6 months after bringing the curtain down on the 55-year Bongo dynasty, Gabon's military leader remains popular despite criticism of authoritarianism governance that is slow to fulfill promises. Many Gabonese rejoiced when Ali Bongo was overthrown in a bloodless coup on August 30th, an hour after being proclaimed the winner of the presidential election, which the army and opposition declared fraudulent. Coup leader General Brice Nguma, 48, was swiftly sworn in as transitional president of the oil-rich Central African nation, promising a return of civilian rule with elections. Polls have since been set for August 2025 under the timetable that first foresees national dialogue scheduled for April this year that will be made up of all the country's vital actors. Still on the foreign scene, French President Emmanuel Macron has said it is key for Europe's security to defeat Russia in Ukraine amid urgent pleas for more weapons from Kiev. He was speaking in Paris, where he said the European leaders had agreed to set up a coalition to give Ukraine medium and long-term missiles and bombs. He added that there was no consensus on sending Western troops to Ukraine, but nothing should be excluded. Russian troops made recent gains in Ukraine, which faces a big arms shortage. Kiev is critically dependent on modern armory supplies from Western allies, particularly the U.S., to be able to continue fighting Russia, a much bigger military force with an abundance of artillery ammunition. U.S. President Joe Biden says he hopes to have a ceasefire in the war between Israel and Hamas in Gaza. His comments come amid reports of some progress in indirect negotiations involving Israeli and Hamas officials. It would involve aid deliveries to Gaza and the release of more hostages taken during the 7 October Hamas attack. Israel has not commented, and Hamas officials have indicated that the two sides are not as close to a ceasefire deal as Biden suggested. The Senate Committee on National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure, NASEMI, has commended the agency for championing local content development of solar-powered smart irrigation, tricycles, electric motorbikes, and others with accelerated technology transfer. The chairman, Senate Committee on NASEMI, Francis Onyewuchi, who led other members of the Committee on Oversight visit to NASEMI headquarters, Abuja, expressed satisfaction while being conducted by the Executive Vice Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of the agency, Kali Halilu. Others products inspected include animal feed processing machines and NASEMI transformers, electric motorcycles and tricycles, as well as NASEMI home and irrigation solar system. The Central Bank of Nigeria has over $300 million to deposit money to banks in the last 2 weeks amid desperate efforts to stabilize the Naira exchange rate. The Association of Corporate Treasurers of Nigeria made the disclosure in an advisory message available to its members. Meanwhile, the Naira appreciated against the dollar to 1,582 Naira to dollar at the close of trading activities at the official market on Monday, according to data obtained from the FMDQ. The increase was 12%, 12 Naira or 0.75% from 1,594 Naira recorded at the name firm. At the black market, the Naira slipped slightly to between 1,555 Naira to a dollar and 1,560 Naira to a dollar, following market sentiments. The Central Bank of Nigeria has declared that it will be selling a foreign exchange valued at $20,000 to all qualifying Bureau de Change operators nationwide. This initiative is a component of larger attempts by the Apex Bank to stabilize the Naira's exchange rate and reduce the forces that fuel the black market. This was made public by the top bank in a fresh circular that was signed by Hassan Mahmoud, the Director of Trade and Exchange Department. It said the allocation will be sold at a rate of 1,300 Naira to a dollar, reflecting the lower band rate of executed spot transactions at the Nigerian Autonomous Foreign Exchange Market as of the previous trading day, dated February 27, 2024. The Central Bank of Nigeria has raised the monetary policy rate MPR by 400 basis points to a record 22.7%. The announcement was made by the CBN Governor Yemi Kadaso, who presided over the Monetary Policy Committee meeting for the first time since taking office in September 2023. Recall that in 2023, Nigeria's MPC implemented a strategy of gradually increasing the MPR over the 4 straight meetings. This culminated in a significant rate of 18.75% by the end of the year. Other important indices such as the cash reserves ratio, the CRR and liquidity ratio stayed constant throughout the time despite these aggressive efforts, with the CRR remaining at 32.5% and the liquidity ratio a 30.0%. Communities in Adamawa, Jos, Taraba and Gombe states will experience 4-hour power outage by February 27. The transmission company of Nigeria disclosed in a statement signed by its public affairs general manager Ndidi Mba. According to Mba, the outages would occur because the TCN maintenance crew would test and inaugurate the new red phase current transformer at the Gombe transmission substation from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. As a result, Mba noted that the Jos and Yola electricity distribution companies will be unable to supply electricity to their customers within the Gombe, Biu, Potuskum, Yola, Savannah, Jalingo, Mayo, Bawa, and Damaturu towns within the 4 hour. The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Defense, Dr. Ibrahim Abubakar Kana, has said that the federal government of Nigeria will continue to reinforce bilateral relations with the United States on military cooperation. Dr. Kana stated this when he hosted the delegations of the United States War College participants undertaking foreign study tour of allied countries in Sheep House, Abuja. Describing Nigerian foreign policy as Afrocentric, he said Nigeria has played a major role in providing peace support operations to many African countries such as Mali, Equatorial Guinea, Liberia, South Africa, Sierra Leone, Guinea, Gambia, Sudan, Chad, amongst others. On the entertainment desk, Australian police are investigating an allegation by a paparazzo that he was assaulted by Taylor Swift's father, Ben McDonald, 51, accused Scott Swift, 71, of striking his face on a Sydney wharf. He did not need medical help. The confrontation happened after Swift and the pop megastar disembarked from a yacht. The spokesperson for the singer did not address the assault claim, but said two people had behaved aggressively towards them. And in sport, Nigeria Super Falcons are through to the final round of the 2024 Paris Olympic women's football event qualifiers following a 1-0 victory against the indomitable Lionesses of Cameroon at the Moshood Abiola Stadium in Abuja. Esther Okoronkwo, who started the match ahead of Azizat Oshoala, scored the only goal in the 14th minute of the encounter to send Nigeria into the final round of the qualifying series, when they would most likely face Bayana of South Africa, who beat Tanzania 3-0 in the first leg of their third round qualifier last week. Meanwhile, Ajibade and Okoronkwo had efforts blocked by Benina, and Cameroon's Manalami blazed over the bar with 2 minutes left in the first period. Super Falcons coach Randy Wardrum has urged his team to be more clinical in front of goal. He said this was critical if they intend to beat their South African counterpart to the final round qualification ticket to Paris 2024 Olympics. The 9-time African champions pipped Cameroon's Lionesses 1-0 in a crucial second-leg women's Olympic football qualifier after a pulsating encounter in Abuja, but they could have paid dearly had the visitors nicked an away goal late in the tie. Nigeria had several chances to kill the game in the first half after enjoying a good start to the encounter. Meanwhile, Sweden's midfielder Christopher Olsen has been placed on ventilator in hospital after losing consciousness at home. The Midtjylland said the ex-Arsenal player 28 is suffering from what appears to be an acute brain-related illness. The Danish side club announced he was taken to Aarhus University Hospital on 20th February. Midtjylland said they felt compelled to release an update due to the increasing rumors and speculations about Christopher Olsen's recent absence. As we end our Global News Express, let's take a look at our top stories. President Tinubu have reduced 263 MDAs to 161 as FEC adopts Oronsayan's report. Federal government said it will pay youth unemployment benefits and set up a consumer credit program. Meanwhile, customs have suspended rice sale after 7 died in stampede. On the foreign scene, Macron said a Russian defeat in Ukraine was vital for security in Europe. And on sports, we told you that Falcons edged out Cameroon and will face South Africa in the final round. That's it on News Express, and it came to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. We're on Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms using our Global TV NG and other handles now showing on your screen. I am Anthony Momodu saying thank you for watching and see you again.